Time doesn't disappear, we just stop paying attention to it. Have you ever looked at the clock and thought, where did my whole day go? You wake up with good intentions, but by the time night comes, you feel like you didn't do anything that really mattered. That's not just a bad habit. That's a pattern. And successful people break that pattern every single day. They don't guess what to do with their time. They plan it, they protect it, they use it in a way that builds their future, not drains it. In this video, you're going to learn how to use time the way successful people do. Not by doing more, not by working non-stop, but by doing the right things at the right time. If you feel stuck, distracted, or like you're falling behind, this will help you reset your focus and take back your day. Let's break it down and get real about how to use your time the smart way. Chapter 1. Get out of bed when you said you would. You said you'd wake up at 6. Then do it. That's where it starts. Not with some big plan or some complicated strategy. It begins the moment you open your eyes and remember what you said to yourself last night. Successful people don't argue with the alarm clock. They don't bargain with the morning. They don't press snooze because they're tired. They get up. Not because they always feel like it, but because they said they would. Discipline is not about how you feel in the moment. It's about what you do despite how you feel. And the first promise you break in a day is usually the one you made to yourself. You told yourself you'd wake up early. You told yourself you'd start strong. But when that alarm rang, you turned your back on that promise. When the alarm rang, you turned your back on that promise. And that's not a small thing. It's a habit. And habits shape your future. You don't need to feel motivated in the morning. You need to be consistent. Nobody feels amazing every single day. Successful people are not successful because they always feel great. They are successful because they know who they want to become, and they act like that person no matter how tired they are. When you get out of bed at the time you promised yourself, you start the day with a win. It might not seem like much, but it matters. That one small act sets the tone for everything else. It tells your mind, I'm in charge here. It gives you momentum. And when you start strong, it becomes easier to keep going strong. Most people live their life in delay. They say things like, I'll start tomorrow, or I'll do it after 5 more minutes. And they keep doing that for years. They don't realize those 5 extra minutes every morning, those become years of lost time. When you delay your morning, you're not just losing minutes, you're losing belief in yourself. It's not about waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning because someone told you that's what winners do. It's about choosing a time that works for you and sticking to it. If you said 6:30, then 6:30 means 6:30, not 6:35, not after scrolling your phone, not after going back to sleep and dreaming about success instead of creating it. When you wake up on time, you build a relationship with yourself based on trust. And that's rare. You see, most people trust other people more than they trust themselves. They keep promises to others, but break the ones they make in private. They say yes to friends, bosses, family, but they say no to their own goals. And they wonder why life feels stuck. The reason is simple. You're building everyone else's future while postponing your own. So start here. Start by doing the thing you said you would do. When the alarm rings, don't think. Just get up. Move. Sit up. Put your feet on the floor. You don't need to feel motivated to do that. You just need to do it. Your brain is waiting for direction. In those first few seconds of the day, you are either the master or the follower. You either take control or fall back into the same cycle. The morning isn't just about the clock. It's about identity. It's about choosing who you are going to be today. You can either be the person who sticks to their word or the person who keeps restarting every few weeks. And the truth is, Most people live in a cycle of restarts. They keep getting excited about their goals, they make plans, they talk about changing their life, but when the alarm goes off, they go right back to comfort. And you can't change your life while choosing comfort every day. Comfort is easy, growth is not. Getting out of bed when you said you would, it's hard, especially when it's cold, especially when you slept late, especially when nobody is watching. But those are the exact moments that shape your character. You don't grow when it's convenient, you grow when it's difficult, and you show up anyway. There's no shortcut to success. You don't get to skip the uncomfortable parts. You can't reach big dreams while living small habits. You either make time or you make excuses. And successful people, they make time. They don't wait for motivation. They build systems. They build habits. They get up on time, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Start paying attention to how you treat your mornings. Do you open your eyes and start scrolling through someone else's life? Or do you open your eyes and take ownership of your own? The way you start your day tells the world and yourself what kind of person you are becoming. And no, it's not about perfection. There will be days you feel off. There will be nights you couldn't sleep well. But the more consistent you are, the easier it becomes. Discipline is like a muscle. Every time you do what you said you would, you strengthen it. Every time you skip, it gets weaker. You have to decide what kind of life you want. Do you want the life that's built on tired excuses and missed opportunities? Or do you want the life that comes from showing up no matter what? Successful people don't have more time than you, they just use it better. And that starts the moment they wake up. Getting up on time may not seem like a big decision, but it's one of the most powerful habits you can build. Because once you prove to yourself that you can do that, you start believing that you can do a lot more. You start making stronger choices. You start valuing your own word. You begin to feel proud before the day even starts. And that pride, it creates energy. It builds momentum. It gives you something that no book, no video, no podcast can give you. It gives you ownership over your own life. The biggest shift happens not when you learn something new, but when you start doing the things you already know you should do. You know you need to wake up on time. You know you need to stop hitting snooze. The problem isn't knowledge, it's action. And the action starts right there. Alarm. Wake up. Stand up. Begin. This is how successful people think. They don't look for perfect mornings, they create them. They don't rely on how they feel. They rely on who they've trained themselves to be. And you can do the same. You don't need to be extreme, you just need to be honest. Set a time, keep it, build that trust, and when you mess up, fix it right away. Don't let one bad morning turn into a bad week. Take responsibility, keep your word, and keep going. The difference between where you are and where you want to be is often found in the space between the alarm and your first step out of bed. Make that step count. Make it every single day. And remember, you are not doing this to impress anyone. You're doing it because you want more for your life. You want to grow. You want to be proud of how you live. You want to stop starting over. And that begins with something as simple and as powerful as getting out of bed when you said you would. Chapter 2. Show up early and stop wasting your mornings. Most people don't realize how much power the morning holds until they've wasted years of it. You can't keep waking up with no plan, rushing through the start of your day, and expect to win in the long run. The truth is, how you begin your morning is a clear reflection of how serious you are about your future. If you want to live like successful people, you have to make different decisions, and one of the most important decisions you'll ever make is to show up early and stop wasting your mornings. There's something special about being ahead of the world. Waking up early gives you space to think, to plan, to prepare, not just physically but mentally and emotionally. It's the quiet hour where your energy hasn't yet been consumed by people, problems or noise. And in that quiet, you can build something real. You can move with intention. You can own your time instead of reacting to everything that tries to steal it. People often say they don't have enough time, but time is not hiding. It's sitting right there in the morning, waiting for you to show up. While most people are sleeping in, hitting snooze or dragging their feet, successful people are already on the move. They're not waiting for life to begin. They are making it begin, on their own terms. You need to train yourself to stop seeing mornings as a burden and start seeing them as a gift. Every early start gives you the chance to lead your day instead of chasing it. When you're always running late, you start your day with stress, and stress becomes your normal. You're not thinking clearly, you're forgetting things, you're reacting to life instead of designing it. That's not the mindset of someone who wants to grow. That's the routine of someone who's stuck. But when you show up early, when you take control of the first few hours, you feel different. You're not in a rush, you're not being pushed around by the clock. You're prepared, you're calm, you're already moving before the world starts asking for your attention. And that feeling, it changes how you show up in every room, every conversation, and every decision. Success doesn't come to people who are busy. It comes to people who are ready. And being ready means you've given yourself time to prepare. You've thought about your goals, you've reviewed your priorities, you've decided what matters today. And you've started on it early, before anyone else even got started. The reason most people waste their mornings is because they never trained themselves to use them. They wake up with no reason, no plan, and no structure. My dear Age, and without structure, your mind will drift to whatever feels easy. The easy thing is staying in bed. The easy thing is scrolling your phone. The easy thing is saying, I'll start later. But easy doesn't lead to success. Easy leads to regret. You have to decide that your future is more important than your comfort. You have to want progress more than you want a few extra minutes of sleep. And that decision, it happens every morning. Nobody is going to force you to wake up early. Nobody is going to check whether you used your morning right. This is between you and you. And that's why it matters. When you start showing up early, you start building a rhythm. And that rhythm becomes your new standard. You begin to feel in control. You begin to realize how much more you can get done. And it's not just about productivity, it's about power. Personal power. The kind that comes from knowing you're showing up for your own life instead of letting it pass you by. Look around. Most people are not living with direction. They're stuck in repeat mode. Same problems, same frustrations, same mornings wasted. They wake up late, rush through the day and collapse at night, wondering where their time went. You don't want to live that way. That's a slow path to disappointment. You need to rise above it. You need to take your mornings back. You do that by getting clear. What do you want your life to look like? What are the habits of someone who has that life? If you study successful people, you'll find a common thread. They don't waste their mornings. They wake up early, they move with purpose, and they do the hard things first. They don't leave their future to chance. They make decisions every day that align with where they want to go. If you want to become that kind of person, you start by building a morning routine that works. Not one that looks good on paper, not one that's trending online. One that works for your life, your goals, your reality. Maybe it's 30 minutes of planning. Maybe it's a workout. Maybe it's reading or journaling. Whatever it is, make it count. Make it yours. And most importantly, make it consistent. You can't just show up early once or twice and expect your life to change. Consistency is the real power. You have to train your body and your mind to expect more from your mornings. That takes effort. That takes sacrifice. You'll have to go to bed earlier. You'll have to stop wasting your nights if you want to stop wasting your mornings. You can't have both. There's something incredibly motivating about knowing you've already accomplished something before most people have started their day. It gives you an edge. And over time, that edge compounds. One productive morning leads to a better day. Better days lead to better weeks. Better weeks become a new lifestyle. And that lifestyle, that's where everything starts to change. You don't need to wait until next year. You don't need a new planner or a new app. You need discipline. You need to decide right now that you're done wasting your mornings. Because time is not going to wait for you to be ready. You have to meet it with action. You have to take it seriously. Successful people are not lucky. They are prepared. They create their own momentum, and you can too. If you stop making excuses and start showing up early, every day, with purpose, imagine how different your life could be if you showed up early for the next 6 months. Imagine the skills you could build, the books you could read, the goals you could make progress on, the confidence you could develop just by proving to yourself that you can stick to something. That version of you already exists. But you'll never meet them if you keep skipping the morning hours where they are built. You don't need permission. You don't need motivation. You need action. That's how change happens, and every day you delay is a day you never get back. That should bother you. That should wake something up inside you. You've already lost enough mornings to distraction, comfort, and hesitation. It's time to take control. It's time to rise early, not for a trend, not for a challenge, but for your own life. You are capable of more than you think, but you'll never find out by sleeping through your opportunities. Show up early. Show up strong. Show up like someone who's tired of wasting time. Because once you begin to use your mornings the right way, everything else in your life starts to rise with you. Your discipline grows, your thinking sharpens, your confidence builds, and you begin to feel what it's like to live with intention instead of habit. This is how you use time like successful people. You stop hoping for a better life and start building one, first thing in the morning. You show up early because you understand that the world rewards those who prepare, not those who rush, not those who wait, but those who show up fully present before anyone else, ready to give the day everything they've got. Be that person, starting tomorrow, starting now.
Chapter 3. Block your time so people don't steal it. If you don't decide how to spend your time, someone else will decide for you. That's the truth. And the people who stay in control of their schedule are the ones who reach their goals. Not because they're smarter or faster, but because they know how to protect what matters. If you don't block your time, it will get taken. Not by force, but slowly through interruptions, messages, calls, and favors that don't align with your purpose. Time is one of the few things in life you can never get back. Once it's gone, and the people who value it the most are usually the ones creating the most impact. Time blocking is a decision. It's not about filling every hour with a task. It's about choosing what deserves your attention and guarding it from anything that doesn't. When you open your day up to everything and everyone, you're saying your goals can wait. You're allowing distractions to win. And over time, this becomes your pattern. You start giving your best energy to things that don't matter. You say yes when you should be focused. You check your phone every few minutes, and before you know it, half the day is gone. You didn't plan to waste it, but because you didn't protect it, it slipped away. Successful people don't let that happen. They block time on purpose. They make space for deep work, for rest, for planning, for thinking. They don't hope they'll find time, they create it. That's how they stay consistent. That's how they get things done that others keep delaying. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They schedule the moment and then show up for it. You have to look at your calendar and ask, is this helping me grow or keeping me stuck? If your day is full of things you didn't choose, that's a problem. The only way to fix it is by becoming intentional. You don't need to be busy all day, you need to be focused when it counts. Focus is built when you block time and give your full attention to one thing. No switching, no multitasking, just you and the work that matters. Time is stolen in small ways. A text message during a task, a phone call while you're trying to write, a conversation that starts as a minute and turns into an hour. Most people don't realize how much energy they lose just by switching gears too often. Your mind needs time to settle into something. And when you're constantly being pulled in different directions, your best thinking never gets a chance to show up. That's why time blocking works. It tells your brain, this is what we're doing now. It shuts the door to everything else. It gives you a clear start and a clear stop. It removes the mental weight of deciding what to do next. And when you commit to it fully, you'll be surprised how much progress you can make in a short time. But here's what you need to know. Blocking your time is only powerful if you respect it. Don't just write it on a calendar and ignore it when someone asks for your attention. Don't treat it like an option. Treat it like an appointment with your future. Because every time you skip it, you push your goals further away. You tell yourself it can wait, and eventually, your future stops believing you're serious. You have to make some decisions that feel uncomfortable. You'll need to tell people no. You'll have to put your phone on silent. You'll need to be unavailable sometimes. That's part of protecting your time. And it's not rude, it's responsible. If you say yes to everything, you're saying no to your own growth. You're letting other people's priorities shape your life. People will take as much time as you allow. Not because they're trying to hurt you, but because most people are not thinking about your schedule. They're thinking about their needs, their questions, their timing. And that's fine. But your job is to protect what you know is important. If you're always open to interruption, you're teaching others that your time doesn't matter. And over time, you'll start believing that too. You don't need to feel guilty for focusing on yourself. In fact, you should feel proud, because when you block your time and stick to it, you're showing respect, not just for your goals, but for your potential. You're saying, this matters enough for me to make room for it, and that sends a message to your mind, your habits, and your future, that you're serious about becoming better. Start simple. Don't try to fill every hour. Just choose a few key blocks in your day where you do focused work. Maybe one in the morning, one in the afternoon. Keep them short enough to stay sharp, but long enough to make real progress. Use that time to do the things that move you forward, the things you've been putting off, the things that require your best effort, and protect that time like your future depends on it. Because it does. You can build a different life by using the time you already have in a better way. You don't need more hours. You need fewer leaks, fewer gaps, fewer stolen moments. And that happens when you stop living your day on accident and start designing it on purpose. Time blocking gives you clarity. It gives you structure. It gives you peace of mind. When you know what you're supposed to be doing, you're less likely to waste energy wondering or drifting. You become more confident, more disciplined, more consistent. And those are the habits that create success. It's not about being perfect. You'll miss some blocks. Things will come up. Life will test your discipline. That's normal. But don't give up on the system. Adjust it, fix it, return to it. The goal is not to live a rigid life. The goal is to take ownership of your time, so that your days begin to reflect your values, not just your obligations. Pay attention to where your time is going. Are you spending your best hours on things that don't matter? Are you constantly being pulled away from your priority? Are you saying yes out of habit instead of choice? Those questions are important, because the answers reveal the truth about whether you're living with intention or just reacting. You are responsible for what gets your energy. Every time you choose to protect your time, you build a life that reflects your goals. Every time you give it away carelessly, you move further from what you said you wanted. It's that simple. Not easy, but simple. You get one life. And how you spend your time is how you spend your life. So don't let it get stolen. Don't let it be shaped by every notification or request. Choose your time, block it, own it, and use it to build something that matters. Because nobody is coming to protect your time for you. That's your job. And it's one of the most important ones you'll ever have. Chapter 4. Pick your top 3 tasks and ignore everything else. If you want to start using your time like successful people, you need to stop trying to do everything. The more you chase, the more you lose. Most people wake up and jump into their day with a scattered list of tasks, constantly switching between things that feel urgent but never really move their life forward. The problem isn't effort, it's direction. It's not about doing more, it's about doing the right things. The truth is, your life is shaped by what you choose to focus on. And if you're not clear on what matters most, your time will be spent on things that leave you tired but unchanged. Every morning before you dive into the noise of the world, you need to pause and decide what actually matters today. Not what looks impressive, not what others expect. What matters to your growth, your goals, your purpose. And you don't need 20 things, you need 3. Just 3 clear, meaningful, specific tasks that deserve your full energy. Anything beyond that is extra. Anything outside of that is noise. When you try to do too much, you end up doing nothing well. But when you choose your top 3 and commit to them with everything you've got, you create progress you can feel. It's easy to feel productive when your day is packed with little tasks. Replying to emails, checking your phone, moving papers, going through motions. But being busy is not the same as being effective. Successful people know the difference. They don't waste energy on things that won't matter a week from now. They put their time where the results are. And that begins with choosing fewer things and doing them better. Picking your top 3 tasks isn't just about saving time, it's about taking ownership of your day. It forces you to get clear. What are you really trying to build? What actions actually support that? If a task doesn't move you closer to where you want to go, then why are you doing it? Most people never ask that. They just keep reacting. They do what shows up instead of what they planned, and then they wonder why nothing changes. You don't need a longer to-do list, you need a shorter one with more meaning. A list that reflects who you want to become, a list that builds your future one choice at a time. And when you commit to that list fully, without distraction, you gain momentum. You start finishing things, you start building confidence, and you stop living in that endless cycle of starting things and never completing them. Your top 3 tasks should challenge you. They should stretch you. They should be tied to goals that actually matter. This is not about easy wins. This is about progress you can see and feel. Maybe it's finishing a key project. Maybe it's making an important decision. Maybe it's working on your health, your finances, your business, your skills. Whatever it is, write it down. Block the time. And focus like it's the only thing that matters, because it is. You have to stop letting small, unimportant tasks steal the best hours of your day. Every time you check your phone instead of finishing what matters, you break momentum. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your top 3, you delay your own success, and the more you do it, the more it becomes normal. You start settling for being busy instead of being effective, and that mindset will keep you stuck. Imagine what your days would feel like if you completed 3 meaningful tasks every day, tasks that actually moved you forward. You wouldn't need to chase motivation, you'd have clarity. You'd feel the difference in your energy, in your focus, in your confidence, because you're not just working, you're building. You're not just reacting, you're leading. And that shift changes everything. This is not about being perfect. There will be days when things come up. If you train yourself to live with intention, you will always return to your top 3. It becomes your anchor, your guide, your way of saying, this is what I choose to give my time to. And that choice makes you powerful. You'll notice something else too. When you focus on fewer things, your quality of work improves. You're not rushing. You're not half-focused. You're fully present, and presence is rare. In a world where most people are scattered and distracted, being fully engaged gives you a real advantage. It makes your work better. It makes your thinking sharper. It makes your time feel more valuable. People will try to pull you in different directions. They'll ask for things. They'll offer quick tasks. They'll send messages that demand your attention. And you have to be strong enough to say, not now. Not because you're selfish, but because you've already decided what matters today. You've already made a promise to yourself, and that promise deserves to be kept. You might think this level of focus will make you miss out, but the only thing you miss when you don't focus is your own progress. The people who win are not the ones who do everything. They are the ones who do a few things with precision and consistency. They finish, they improve, they repeat, and that's how they grow. Start simple. Every morning, write down the 3 most important things you need to get done. Not what feels urgent, not what looks easy. The 3 things that truly matter. Then protect your time, eliminate distractions, and do them, one by one, with full attention. Don't multitask. Don't try to be everywhere. Just be present with the task in front of you. And when you complete them, stop. Celebrate. Reflect. You don't need to fill the rest of your day with noise just to feel useful. Productivity is not about hours, it's about results. And if you've done the most important things, you've already won the day over time. This habit will rewire how you see your time. You'll stop chasing every shiny thing. You'll stop getting lost in tasks that don't matter. You'll start leading your days with clarity and ending them with real progress. And that kind of life, that kind of focus, is what separates average from exceptional. You don't need more apps or more tools. You need discipline. You need clarity. You need to stop being available to everything and start becoming committed to a few things that truly matter. That's what successful people do. They pick what matters most, and they ignore everything else because they know their time is their life, and they refuse to waste it. So today, and every day, ask yourself this: what are the top 3 things that, if completed, will make this day a success? Then go and do them, before anything else steals your time, your focus, or your energy. That's how you take control of your day. That's how you move forward. That's how you use time like successful people. Chapter 5. Treat every hour like it actually matters now. Most people think they have time. That's why they waste so much of it. They walk through their day without urgency, without structure, without respect for the hours slipping away. But the truth is, time doesn't pause. It doesn't stop for reflection. It doesn't wait for your mood. It moves forward, hour by hour, with or without you. And if you want to become someone who achieves more, lives better, and builds something meaningful, then you must begin treating every hour like it actually matters now. Every single hour holds weight. Every hour is a small piece of your future. It's either helping you move forward or allowing you to fall behind. There's no neutral ground. The way you use this hour decides the quality of your day, and the way you use your days decides the quality of your life. That's how important this is. This is not about time management. This is about life management. It's about asking yourself, what am I doing with the time I have right now? People often complain that they're behind in life, but they never look at how they spend their hours. They say they don't have time to work on their goals, yet they lose hours every day to distractions that serve no purpose. They scroll, they watch, they delay, and it's not that they're lazy. It's that they haven't fully realized how short life actually is. They don't see each hour as a piece of something sacred. They treat it like it's disposable. And that's exactly why nothing changes. When you treat every hour like it matters, you start showing up differently. You stop making excuses. You stop giving your time to things that don't build you. You start choosing what to focus on with clarity. You begin to value even the quiet, boring moments, because you know they're not empty. They're opportunities. Opportunities to improve, to think, to act, to learn, to rest with purpose, not by accident. Think about how many hours you've already lived. Thousands. Think about how many you wasted waiting for the right moment to begin. Think about how many you gave to things that didn't make you better. Now think about how your life would feel if you started using the next hour with real intention. That's the shift that changes everything. The future doesn't start someday. It starts the moment you begin taking your time seriously. Success isn't built on random moments of luck. It's built on consistent effort applied over time, not one day, not 1 week, but hour after hour, stacked with discipline. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to do everything, but you do have to stop wasting time like it doesn't matter, because once an hour is gone, it never returns. It doesn't give you another shot, and there's no way to earn it back. You have to become the kind of person who looks at the clock and feels responsibility. Not pressure, but responsibility. You have to decide what this hour is for. Is it for growth? Is it for action? Is it for planning, resting, building, connecting, learning? Or is it just another lost piece of your life, taken by mindless habits? That decision is yours. No one can make it for you. Start paying attention to what you do in the in-between moments. The hour between work and dinner. The hour before bed. The hour after you wake up. These hours shape your character. They show your discipline, and the people who win are the ones who use these hours with purpose, even when nobody's watching. You won't always feel motivated. You won't always feel ready, but that's not what makes the difference. What makes the difference is showing up for the hour in front of you regardless of how you feel. Success doesn't wait for your energy to be perfect. It shows up for those who are consistent, even when it's hard. You don't need to make every hour look like a highlight reel, but you do need to make sure each hour has direction. Even rest can be intentional. Even silence can be valuable when it's chosen with purpose. The problem is not in taking breaks. It's in taking breaks for hours while pretending you're just waiting for the right time to start. Discipline begins when you stop letting time pass without asking what it's doing for you. That's how people become successful, not by working every second of the day, but by making sure they don't allow hours to drift away unnoticed. They live in the present moment with a deep awareness that this hour matters. This hour holds power. This hour is another step forward, or another reason to stay stuck. Most people will never feel what it's like to fully use their time. They'll always be waiting, waiting to feel right, waiting to be inspired, waiting for a new month, a new year, a new sign. But time doesn't wait for them, and life moves forward, whether they act or not. That's why urgency is so important. Not panic urgency, a calm, focused sense that time is valuable and it deserves to be respected. When you begin to live like that, something inside you changes. You stop tolerating distraction. You stop allowing random things to pull you off course. You stop making decisions that waste your energy. You start moving with clarity. You start making better choices, and those better choices begin to stack. They build new routines. They create a new lifestyle, and suddenly, your life starts to reflect the kind of person you've become. It doesn't take magic. It takes attention. Focus on this hour. Don't look too far ahead. Don't get overwhelmed by how far you have to go. Just ask, what can I do with this hour to make my life better? That question alone can reshape everything, because if you answer it honestly, you'll stop wasting time. You'll stop drifting. You'll start acting like your life is valuable, because it is. You may not control everything, but you do control how you spend your hours. That's the power you've been given, and it's more than enough to build something great. You can't afford to keep living on autopilot. You can't afford to let this hour go to waste, because one day, you'll look back and realize that your life became whatever you did consistently. And if you used your hours well, your life will show it. So treat every hour like it actually matters now, not tomorrow, not next week, right now. The time you're in is real, it's valuable, it's limited, and the person you want to become is built inside this hour. The question is, what will you do with it? Chapter 6. Stop jumping around and focus on one thing only. Most people never move forward because they're always jumping from one thing to the next. They start something with energy, but before they finish, they're already distracted by something new. They keep switching tasks, switching goals, switching focus, and they wonder why nothing feels complete. The problem isn't a lack of effort, it's a lack of direction. If you want to make real progress, you've got to stop jumping around and focus on one thing only. One task, one goal, one purpose at a time. That's how results are built. Your brain is not designed to handle 5 things at once with full attention. Every time you switch between tasks, you lose momentum. You lose mental clarity. You lose depth. What feels like being productive is actually slowing you down. You might get a lot of small things done, but none of them are done with excellence. And excellence only comes from full focus. You can't reach your potential when your attention is scattered. You have to train your mind to stay with something long enough to see it through. Not just when it's exciting, not just when it's easy, but all the way through until it's finished. That's where real discipline lives. That's where confidence grows. When you stick to one thing, you not only get more done, you begin to trust yourself. You stop being the person who starts and quits. You become the person who finishes what they start. This matters more than you think. Every time you abandon something halfway through, you're reinforcing the habit of quitting. And habits don't just show up in one area. If you can't focus on one thing at work, chances are you're also scattered in your personal goals. If you're always switching between routines, your results will reflect that. Consistency is not just about effort, it's about holding your attention long enough to let it produce something real. Look at the people who get things done. They're not jumping from idea to idea. They pick one direction, and they stay on it. They shut out the noise. They say no to extra distractions. They don't chase every opportunity. They decide what's important and give it their full attention. That's why they grow. That's why their work stands out. That's why they feel in control. You've got to be honest with yourself. How often are you breaking your own flow just to feel busy? How often are you switching tasks just because one thing got uncomfortable? It's easy to jump when something feels hard. It's easy to chase something new when the work gets boring. But success isn't built during the exciting start. It's built in the middle, when it's tough, quiet and slow. That's where most people quit. And that's where you need to stay. You don't need a dozen projects. You need to finish the one you started. Pick one goal, one habit, one system, and keep going until you've given it your full attention for a long stretch of time. Even if it's not perfect, even if it's taking longer than you expected, you're building something, and building takes time. It takes focus. It takes staying with it even when it stops feeling exciting. We live in a time where distractions are everywhere. One click and you're off to a new article, a new video, a new message. Your phone is constantly begging for your attention, and every time you give in, you break your rhythm. You reset your brain. You weaken your ability to focus. And if you do this every day, focus becomes harder and harder to find. You end up living in reaction, not intention. That's not how successful people operate. They protect their time. They protect their energy. And most of all, they protect their focus. Because they know that deep work creates deep results. And deep work only happens when you commit to one thing at a time. You can't fake focus. You can't fake discipline. You either sit down and get into it, or you keep floating from one thing to the next and wonder why your goals are still out of reach. This isn't just about work. This is about life. If you want better relationships, you need to be fully present. If you want better health, you need to stick to one plan and follow through. If you want better finances, you need to pick a strategy and focus your decisions. Everything worth having comes from focus. Scattered effort leads to scattered results. But when you stay locked in on something important, you multiply your impact. Start small, choose one task, and give it your full attention for the next hour. No phone, no tabs open, no switching, just you and that task. Notice how your mind resists it at first. Notice how it tries to wander. That's normal. But don't follow the distraction. Come back to the task. Stay with it. Keep working. Keep building that mental muscle. Every time you return your focus, you're becoming stronger. You're teaching your brain how to stay. Over time, this becomes easier. You start to enjoy the depth. You start to appreciate how good it feels to be all in on something. You start seeing progress where there was once just motion. That's the power of focusing on one thing. It takes you deeper. It makes your work sharper. It gives you clarity. And most importantly, it helps you finish. You need to stop chasing everything that looks interesting. That kind of mindset will leave you exhausted with nothing to show for it. Pick something that matters to you and give it the attention it deserves. Don't let distractions take over your life. Don't keep switching paths every time you feel doubt. See it through. Push past the urge to quit. Stay where the growth is. And when you feel tempted to jump to something else, pause. Ask yourself why. Is it because this is no longer aligned with your values? Or is it just getting hard? Most of the time people jump because the challenge makes them uncomfortable. But comfort doesn't build growth. Staying focused when it's hard, that's where change lives. You can achieve more with focused energy in one area than with scattered effort in 5. You can accomplish things in weeks that others take years to complete. Not because you're faster, but because you're consistent. You're present. You're all in. That kind of commitment is rare, but it's what sets successful people apart. So stop jumping around.
Chapter 7.
Protect your energy by saying no without guilt. You don't need to say yes to everything. You don't need to explain yourself to everyone. You don't need to carry every request that comes your way. If you keep trying to please everyone, you will run out of energy for yourself. And the truth is, people who achieve the most, people who stay grounded and focused, people who grow over time, they all know how to protect their energy by saying no. Not with anger, not with guilt, just with clarity, because they understand one important thing: not every request deserves their time. You were not put on this earth to respond to every message, attend every event, or agree to every favor. Your time is limited. Your focus is precious. And your energy is not infinite. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve your growth, you are saying no to something that does. Every time you give your time away to things that don't align with your goals, you lose momentum, you lose clarity, you lose yourself in the noise. People will ask, they will expect, they will assume. And that's okay. But just because they ask doesn't mean you're required to agree. Saying no doesn't make you unkind. It makes you honest. It makes you someone who knows their values, someone who chooses wisely, someone who respects their time and mental space. There's a big difference between being helpful and being used. One comes from a place of strength. The other drains you. If you've ever felt overwhelmed, burned out, or stretched too thin, it's likely because you've been saying yes when you should have said no. You've been carrying things that were never your responsibility. You've been absorbing pressure that wasn't yours to begin with. And if you keep doing that, you will eventually have nothing left to give, not to yourself, and not to others. Saying no is not rejection, it's direction. It's choosing what deserves your attention and what doesn't. Every strong person you admire, whether in business, in relationships, in personal development, they've learned this skill. They've learned how to protect their energy by creating boundaries, and they do it without guilt, because they understand that guilt is not a guide. It's a feeling, and feelings are temporary. But your time, that's permanent once it's gone. Think about how many times you've said yes, just to avoid a moment of awkwardness. How many times you've agreed to things you didn't want to do, just because you didn't want someone to feel bad. And every time you did that, you made yourself small so someone else could feel comfortable. That's not strength. That's avoidance. And the longer you live like that, the further you drift from your real self. You're not here to be available to everyone. You're not here to live according to other people's plans. You are here to grow, to build, to lead, to contribute in your own way. That takes energy. And if your energy is constantly being drained by things that don't align with your path, you won't have the capacity to show up fully for the things that do. Start noticing what drains you. Start noticing which conversations leave you feeling empty, which habits steal your clarity, which people always take but never give. And when you see it clearly, you have a responsibility to yourself to protect your space. That doesn't mean cutting everyone off. It means being selective. It means knowing your limit. It means recognizing that every yes is a choice to invest your time and energy. And that choice must be intentional. When you start saying no with confidence, you begin to take your life back. You start living by design, not obligation. You start moving from pressure to purpose, and something powerful happens. You gain peace. Not the kind of peace that comes from avoiding conflict. The kind that comes from alignment. From knowing that your actions match your values. From feeling in control of your own schedule. That kind of peace is worth more than approval. The truth is, most people will respect your boundaries if you communicate them with clarity. And the ones who don't, they were only comfortable with you when you didn't have boundaries. That's not love. That's convenient. And you should never feel bad for choosing your well-being over someone's comfort. You have to believe that your time matters. You have to believe that your energy is worth protecting. You have to believe that you don't need to prove your value by always being available. You are valuable because of who you are, not because of how much you say yes. Practice saying no without defending it. You don't owe anyone a detailed explanation. A simple, "that doesn't work for me," is enough. Stand firm. Stay grounded. Be respectful but be clear. And remember, when you say no to one thing, you are saying yes to something else. Maybe it's rest. Maybe it's focus. Maybe it's time with people who truly uplift you. Whatever it is, that yes needs space to exist. And saying no creates that. If you feel exhausted, it's not because you're doing too much. It's because you're doing too many things that don't feed you. And that kind of exhaustion is not solved by more sleep. It's solved by better choices. Choices that reflect your priorities. Choices that protect your peace. Choices that make room for your growth. Protecting your energy isn't selfish. It's responsible. You are not useful to anyone when you're burned out. You can't serve, lead, or create from an empty place. You need to be full to overflow. And that means saying no when you need to. It means listening to yourself, trusting your instincts, and giving yourself permission to live in alignment, not expectation. As you grow, more opportunities will come your way. More people will want your time. That's a good thing. But it also means you need to become even more intentional. Every time you say yes, ask yourself, is this helping me grow? Is this aligned with my purpose? Is this the best use of my time and energy today? If the answer is no, then your response should match. You can still be kind and say no. You can still care about people and set limits. You can still be generous and choose wisely. These things are not opposites. They are signs of maturity. And maturity is choosing what builds your life over what pleases people in the moment. You don't owe everyone your energy. You owe yourself the truth. And the truth is, not everything deserves your attention. You are allowed to step back. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to create space. And in that space, you will find your power again. So protect your energy. Say no when you need to, without guilt, without hesitation, without fear. Say no so you can say yes to what really matters. Your health, your dreams, your growth, your peace. Because if you don't protect your energy, nobody else will. That's your job. And the better you get at it, the stronger you become. Not just in how you feel, but in how you live.
Chapter 8. Use boring hours to build your future quietly. The real transformation doesn't happen when everything is exciting. It happens in the hours nobody talks about. The quiet hours, the dull hours, the parts of the day that feel slow, ordinary, or unimportant. That's where you build your future, when nothing is happening and nobody is watching. Those boring hours are not empty unless you waste them. In fact, they're the most available, most underused, and most powerful moments in your day. And how you use those moments says everything about how serious you are about your life. Most people only take action when something feels urgent, when the deadline is close, when people are expecting something, when they're in a rush. But growth doesn't only happen under pressure. The real growth takes place in the spaces where nobody is telling you what to do. You're not being pushed. You're not being measured. And that's where your habits reveal themselves. What you do when you're bored shows what kind of discipline you really have. You get to decide what to do with the quiet hours. That time between meetings, the evening before bed, the early mornings before the world wakes up, the long afternoon that feels unimportant. You can spend it scrolling, waiting, delaying, or distracting yourself. Or you can build something in silence. You can read. You can write. You can learn. You can plan. You can practice. And no, it won't feel exciting, but it will count. It will accumulate. It will move you forward quietly and consistently. The truth is, successful people don't wait for perfect conditions. They make progress in the cracks of the day,
They don't rely on hype or adrenaline. They've trained themselves to show up during the boring parts, when motivation is low and nobody's clapping. Because they understand that those hours are where most people fall off. Most people waste them. That's why most people stay stuck. Your future is being built whether you realize it or not. Every hour is an investment or a loss. If you're only productive when things are exciting, you'll spend most of your life waiting. You'll wait for a sign. You'll wait for the mood to be right. You'll wait for a wave of energy to carry you. But that wave might not come today or tomorrow, and your goals will keep collecting dust while you keep waiting for something that doesn't exist. It's not about being busy all the time. It's about being deliberate. You don't need to pack every second with effort, but you do need to stop throwing away the calm hours. Those windows of time when you're not rushing and not distracted. Those are gold if you know how to use them. They're the perfect moments to gain an edge, to do the work others skip, to sharpen the skills that pay off later. Building your future quietly means no one is clapping, no one is checking in, no one is keeping score, and that's exactly what makes it powerful. It's between you and you. It's where your self-respect grows. It's where your discipline is tested, and it's where real confidence is formed, not from public praise, but from private consistency. You won't always see immediate results. You might go weeks or months before you notice a shift, but every time you use a boring hour with intention, you're planting something, and just because it doesn't bloom right away, doesn't mean it's not growing. Progress often happens silently. By the time people notice, you've already changed. Most people underestimate what they can do in a year and overestimate what they can do in a day. That's because they burn out chasing fast results, but ignore the steady work that brings real change. You don't need to do everything at once. You just need to use your time better, especially the time that feels boring. Start looking at those quiet hours as building time. What can you do right now that your future self will thank you for? Maybe it's organizing your finances. Maybe it's studying a new skill. Maybe it's reflecting and journaling. Maybe it's simply sitting with your thoughts, sharpening your focus, or preparing for tomorrow. It doesn't have to be loud. It just has to be consistent. Don't tell yourself you don't have time. You do. You just don't see it because it doesn't come wrapped in pressure or noise. It's sitting quietly in between the loud parts of your day, waiting to be used. And once you train yourself to see it, you'll stop wasting so much. You'll stop saying, "I'll do it later." You'll stop drifting. You'll start building. The people you admire didn't get there by accident. They didn't build discipline from excitement. They built it from repetition, from using their evenings wisely, from turning off distractions when no one told them to, from saying yes to their future when it would have been easier to take a break. And they did it over and over until it became normal. You can do the same. You don't need applause. You need a decision, a simple daily choice to show up for your life when it's boring, when it's quiet, when nothing big is happening. That's the foundation. And without it, nothing strong lasts. There's a kind of strength that comes from knowing you didn't waste the hours no one talks about. It gives you peace of mind. It gives you a sense of direction. You walk through life with the quiet confidence that you're building something real, even if nobody sees it yet. And that's a different kind of success, one that doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. So take those boring hours seriously. Use them. Protect them. Make something out of them. They are not interruptions. They are not meaningless. They are where your future is being shaped. Not through pressure, but through persistence. Not through hype, but through habits. Use that time to become who you said you would be, because the hours you think don't matter are the very ones shaping the life you'll live next year. The ones where nobody's watching. The ones where nothing exciting is happening. The ones where you feel like skipping the work. That's where your edge is built. That's where your discipline is tested. That's where your next level is waiting. You don't have to announce your progress. You don't need to tell the world what you're doing. Just do it. Quietly, consistently, without waiting for recognition. Let the work speak later. For now, keep building in silence. Use the boring hours well. That's where the real power lives. Chapter 9. End your day, knowing you gave it everything. There's something powerful about lying down at the end of the day and knowing without a doubt that you gave it everything you had. Not some of your focus, not a few scattered efforts, everything. There's a deep peace that comes when you don't leave anything on the table. That kind of peace can't be bought, and it can't be faked. It comes from effort. It comes from presence. It comes from choosing, over and over, to show up fully for your own life. Most people end their day drained, but not fulfilled. They feel tired, but not accomplished. They were busy, but they weren't effective. They moved all day, but never moved forward. The reason is simple: they never decided what mattered most. They let the day pull them in every direction. They reacted. They scrambled. They rushed. But they never really took control of their time. So when the day ends, they feel unsettled, like something's missing, because something is effort that matched their potential. You don't need to do 100 things in one day. You just need to do what matters with everything you've got. You need to be intentional. You need to show up with focus. You need to face the hard things instead of postponing them. And when you do that, when you live with clarity and discipline, the end of your day feels different. It doesn't matter if everything went perfectly. What matters is that you didn't hold back, that you took the time you had and used it well. Giving your best doesn't mean being perfect. It means being honest with yourself. Did you avoid your most important task? Did you cut corners? Did you put things off that needed your attention? Or did you do the uncomfortable thing, the boring thing, the thing that stretched you? That's what effort looks like. It's not flashy. It's not always fun, but it's real. And it adds up. When you go to bed with work undone, not because there wasn't enough time, but because you didn't use it, it doesn't feel good. There's a weight to it, a sense that you let yourself down. You can ignore that feeling. You can push it away, but it doesn't disappear. It stays with you. And if you ignore it long enough, you start to accept it as normal. You start believing that showing up halfway is just part of life. But it doesn't have to be. You can live differently. You can end your day with pride. Not the kind that comes from praise, but the kind that comes from discipline. The kind that says, no one had to push me. I chose to push myself. That kind of pride builds strength. It builds self-trust. It turns ordinary days into stepping stones. It starts with awareness. Every morning, you begin with a limited amount of energy, time, and focus. How you use it is up to you. You can waste it on things that don't matter, or you can spend it on what moves you closer to the life you want. At the end of the day, that decision will be clear in how you feel. You either poured your energy into something meaningful, you let it leak into distractions. Think about how you feel when you end a day, knowing you gave it everything. You're tired, but it's a good kind of tired. It's not frustration. It's not guilt. It's a calm kind of exhaustion, the kind that comes from full effort, the kind that lets you sleep deeply, without the noise of unfinished goals in your mind. That kind of rest is earned, and it comes from being fully engaged with your own time. If you want to live a better life, start by finishing your days strong. Don't just collapse into the night. Don't drag yourself to the end. Use the final hours with just as much intention as you used the first. Review what you did. Reflect on what you avoided. Ask yourself, did I give today my full attention? If the answer is no, adjust. Don't wait until next week. Fix it tomorrow. That's how you grow. That's how you close the gap between who you are and who you want to become. You don't need to chase perfection, but you do need to chase honesty, honest effort, honest focus, honest progress. And when you give yourself that, day after day, your results begin to reflect that truth. People start noticing, your energy changes, your habits shift, and most importantly, you begin to trust yourself again. So many people have lost that trust. They don't believe their own promises anymore. They say they'll start, but they don't. They say they'll follow through, but they quit. And after enough time, they stop setting real goals. Not because they don't care, but because deep down they've stopped believing they'll stick to anything. That's what happens when you keep ending your days with regret. It erodes your belief in your own discipline. But that belief can be rebuilt, one strong day at a time. One day where you commit to giving it your all. One day where you don't coast, where you don't excuse, where you don't set, and then you do it again the next day. Not in a burst, not with pressure, but with consistency. It's not about doing big things every day. It's about doing the right things with full presence. That's the key. Do them when you feel like it, and more importantly, when you do. Chapter 10. Repeat the right things until they change your life. Most people are always searching for something new. A new method, a new secret, a new system that will fix everything in one shot. But the truth is, your life won't change when you keep switching plans. Your life changes when you repeat the right things over and over until they start working for you, until they stick, until they shape how you think, how you act, and how you live. Progress doesn't come from knowing what to do. It comes from doing it again and again until it becomes part of you, until it becomes your new normal. Repetition is not boring. Repetition is where mastery begins. Anything that becomes great is built on thousands of small, consistent actions. You don't get strong from going to the gym once. You don't become focused by practicing once. You don't improve your life by getting it right one day. You grow by choosing the right behaviors and repeating them, even when you feel like nothing is changing. Especially then, that's when you need to stay consistent. The problem for most people is not that they don't know what to do. The problem is, they don't do it long enough to see results. They try something for a week. They start a habit, and then get bored. They get distracted by the next shiny idea, and they give up too soon, right before the change could have happened, right before their actions could have turned into a new identity. That's the tragedy. Not that they didn't start, but that they didn't keep going. You can change your life with a few simple habits, if you repeat them, if you commit to them, if you stay with them long enough to let them work on you. That means showing up daily, not just when it's convenient. It means being consistent without constant excitement. Because there's power in routine, there's momentum in discipline, and when you stack those small daily choices, they turn into transformation. Think about the strongest people you know, the ones who seem grounded, the ones who stay focused, the ones who get results over time. They don't do 100 different things. They find what works, and they do it over and over, even when it's hard, even when it's slow, even when no one's cheering for them. That's what separates them from everyone else. It's easy to do the right thing once. What matters is whether you can keep doing it. When it's quiet, when you're tired, when nobody sees it. That's the kind of repetition that builds strength. That's what builds confidence. Not because you're perfect, but because you're dependable. You do what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. You want to feel better. Repeat habits that give you energy. You want to be more disciplined. Practice doing small things on time every day. You want a stronger mind. Read and learn, even when it's boring. You want more clarity. Write your thoughts down until they make sense. These things aren't magic, they're not dramatic. They're simple actions. But the results, life-changing. If you stay consistent, repetition isn't about perfection. You're going to mess up. You're going to miss a day. That's normal. But what matters is that you come back. You don't quit. You don't throw everything away because one moment didn't go right. That's where most people lose. They think a setback means it's over. But the people who win know that progress isn't linear. It's messy. But if they keep repeating what works, even imperfectly, they'll keep getting stronger. Most of your life is shaped by the things you do on autopilot. The routines you don't even think about. That's why repeating the right things is so important. Because whatever you repeat becomes automatic. And when your default actions are healthy, focused and aligned with your goals, you don't have to force results. They start happening on their own. But getting to that point takes time. You have to be patient. You have to be okay with slow growth. You have to stop rushing. Fast results usually don't last. It's the small daily steps, done without skipping, that bring real change. You want to get better? Pick a few simple habits that support your future, and do them every single day. Not for a week, not for a month, for as long as it takes to become the kind of person who lives like that naturally. And yes, it'll feel boring sometimes. It'll feel repetitive, but that's the price of real change. You can either get bored with progress, or stay entertained by distraction. But you can't have both. So ask yourself, do you want to feel excited every day? Or do you want to live a better life? Because often, those two things don't happen at the same time. Repetition builds character. It teaches you discipline. It teaches you patience. It teaches you to focus on the process, not just the reward. That's how you create a life that lasts. Not by chasing highs, but by building a foundation. You don't have to start big. Just pick a few simple actions that align with the person you want to be. Do them daily, even when you don't feel like it. Especially then, that's when the shift starts to happen. When you stop needing motivation and start relying on structure. That's when your identity begins to change. You're not someone who wants to be disciplined. You become someone who is disciplined. It could be as simple as waking up at the same time every day, writing for 15 minutes, planning your schedule, drinking water, finishing what you start. These don't feel impressive, but they build something inside you. Something strong, something reliable, something that makes you feel proud. Not because others noticed, but because you showed up. There's nothing more empowering than proving to yourself that you can follow through, that you can commit to something and stay with it, that you don't need to be pushed. You don't need outside pressure. You have your own standard. You repeat the right things not because it's easy, but because it's who you are now. This is where lasting success lives. Not in the breakthrough moments, not in the big decisions, but in the daily choices that seem small. That's where you win. That's where you grow. That's where your life begins to shift. So if you want to change your life, don't look for the next big thing. Look at what's already working, and do it again, and again, and again, and again, until the results are impossible to ignore, until the changes are too obvious to hide, until your life starts to feel different. Not because of a miracle, but because of consistency. You're not stuck. You're just inconsistent. Fix that. Start small. Pick the right things. Repeat them. Track them. Protect them. Don't stop when it gets boring. Don't quit because it feels slow. Keep going until the changes show up in how you think, how you act, and how you feel. The most successful people in the world aren't lucky. They're repeatable. They built systems. They didn't depend on moods. They didn't chase perfection. They found what worked, and they never stopped doing it. That's your job now. Find the right things, then repeat them, until they change everything. Because they will. And when they do, you'll know it wasn't an accident. It was effort. It was focus. It was discipline. And it was worth every step.